Okay, I'm back. And I really want to be specific about why I started this channel because just as I realized one day out in the woods that everything is frequency, I also realized that everything is consciousness, or everything that we respond to, the way that we respond to things, is dependent upon our level of consciousness. Our behavior, everything that we do, all of our actions are only at the level of our consciousness. We are not capable of anything less or anything more. Now that varies. You know, we go in and out of our level of consciousness in the moment, many times due to if we're overtired or if we're not feeling well, things like that. But generally, an overall level of our consciousness and our awareness, I mean, when we act outside of that which we are aware of consciously, we are also consciously aware that we have done so, and we feel bad all of a sudden, right? We think, oh my gosh, what have I done? You know, I've got to apologize to this person because I don't know what happened. I just responded in a way that I never meant to really do. And, you know, so we go in and out of that level of awareness, or maybe it's a band of level of consciousness that we operate within. And so really, the goal is to constantly self-correct and to get ourselves to operate higher and higher in that level of consciousness, to increase our level of awareness. Now, one of the reasons why I'm focusing really on the level of consciousness in this channel, and not so much in the red pill information, is because what I realized was that people react differently to information, and it's all based on their level of consciousness. You know, I mean, if we operate from an ego level primarily, we think that that's all we are. We are the ego. We are the body. We compare ourselves to other people all the time because, you know, we want to be as good as or better than, or we judge ourselves as being worse than, and we think we're awful and blah, 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 blah. And we're on this seesaw of ego. We're in this, in the pits of pain. It's because we're in the ego. And the ego wants to protect us and wants to make us feel good about ourselves, and all on usually false premises, things that really are not the basis of any true substance, shall we say. So people who are in that bandwidth of consciousness, when they hear about awful things that are happening in the world, you know, they've got this friend of theirs over here telling them, listen, you got to wake up. This is what's happening. This is what's going on. You know, you may not realize it, but it's happening and we have to do something about it. Well, this person who is operating in the frequency band of ego, the ego gets frightened. The ego gets scared because the ego is just a little me, you know, just the victim, the one who wants to lash out against things, and the one that gets like just wants to cower in the corner, you know, because they're overcome with this fear. And the ego is basically functioning in a fear-based level. So now that's the extreme. Of course, you know, there are variations in that progression, and then we all go in and out of different aspects of our level of consciousness. So I've just given the extreme case of that. But when you or me or anyone is confronted with anything that shakes what our ego wants to think is solid, our solid foundation, it is what it is. This is it. This is the ego decided that this is how things are. And if you're trying to tell this ego that, well, things may be a little bit different than what it is you are attaching yourself to do to as your foundation of reality, then that's going to shake up the foundation of who you think you are. And that's ego, because the ego thinks that's who it is. The ego thinks that all the things that ego believes is the foundation of who that ego is. The ego believes that if you're a doctor, that's who you are. You're a doctor. Or, if you, whatever you do, that's who you are. How your life is defined in terms of the things that you have in your life and the material things that you have in your life, that's who you are. That's who the ego thinks you are. And if you're in the ego, that's who you think you are. As compared to if you identify with consciousness, if you have this sense of being consciousness in this body with which the ego comes equipped, but you're not the ego, you're the consciousness. And in realizing that you're consciousness, you have this sense of what that consciousness is, and it's huge, and it's impenetrable, and it's everlasting, it's eternal, it can't be hurt, it can't be deleted, it can't be threatened in any way, because it's consciousness. And so if you identify with being consciousness who has come into this body to serve that consciousness in the third plane on earth at this time, then you have a whole different perspective. When you hear of information that people, you want to wake up to, because you see that there's things wrong in this world, and you feel like you're here to try and heal the human condition on this planet. Well, first of all, you've probably spent a whole lifetime trying to figure out why it is the way it is so that you can heal it. You can't heal something without realizing why it's manifested in the first place, because if you do, you will be like the medical community who only wants to mask over the symptoms but not really get to the cure, not the cause, which will then lead to the cure. So if you are coming at it from someone who knows that they are consciousness, then that is your desire to know. You want to know and understand the reason why things are so messed up, why people suffer, why people are killed, why things happen the way they do in such awful ways that they do. So that maybe if we can understand why they're that way, we can help to facilitate a change in making our world not a fear-based world, not a hellacious world, but a wonderful, beautiful, loving world, kind world. So that's, to me, that's the difference. It's a level of consciousness that we experience that is everything. Just like frequency is everything, the level of consciousness is everything. So I think it's first and foremost, it's the most important thing that we have to focus on. Now, I post a lot of red pill kind of information on my Facebook page. But I'm not dealing specifically with the red pill information in this channel. I want to focus on our coming together and increasing our individual awareness of consciousness, because I think that that is the most important thing to do. So with that said, I'm going to leave it there for now. I'll talk to you later.